Welcome back to the show, boys and girls. This is BlastBoxx TV. I'm Officialdregs talking to you. Today I'm going to be doing a video about the recent decline of WWE programming, mostly Raw. I'm going to talk about how they have the lowest rating ever for Raw, which is a really bad sign for the culture of the company and how they can fix it. Rhea Ripley and Damian Priest were supposed to be called up relatively recently, but they did not due to scheduling stuff, so they're coming up sooner or later, which I'm going to say is probably the Royal Rumble. False advertising by the WWE for Legends Night and a few more things. Today I'm going to talk about, guys and girls, the WWE, believe Raw rating was like below 2.0 in the ratings, so it's about 1 million or so, and I guess that's like the lowest rating ever for Raw. And Raw is, I think, it's only 20 years old or so. So I'm 31, so I'm been alive longer than Raw been on TV. I can't say the most for most of their fans, and I saw this decline coming a long time ago. Once they bought WCW and ECW, and they started buying the talent out from other companies, I knew sooner or later that decline was going to start. And it started, I think, about 2017, 2018, where it was when you start to see a decline in people attending shows, decline in seeing people buying merchandise, and product was just like horrible. Then they came out and said the fans are authority, which that was a load of shit. And then it just stayed declining. Then they started tarping off locations, stayed declining. Then they started trying to pay plants to be in the audience. And then around this time, all the WWE fans, the Shields was like, oh, Impact can't fill up an arena. They have to pay people to come in. Meanwhile, WWE, the largest wrestling company in the world, was paying people to come in. It was tarping off areas and putting people in certain locations, and then they moved in another location to act like there's a whole bunch of people in the stands, and this was not. And it just got funny to me because the WWE fans was talking shit about Impact and other companies not be able to fill arenas and stuff, whereas the WWE have tons more money than they do, was failing to cater to the audience. We're bringing back Bruce Pritchard. The product is just gonna keep sucking, because Bruce Pritchard is control of Raw and SmackDown, and he's gonna put on stuff that Vince likes. He's not gonna do what the fans want, what Vince likes, and that's two different mindsets. The fans know what they want from the product and something more engaging, more intelligent, whereas WWE is head honcho. Vince, his stuff is all about toilet humor and stuff like that. But it's not going to change until Bruce Pritchard is gone and when Vince is gone. Otherwise, it's just going to be the same. The only way you can change the corporate culture, the toxic culture, and the bullying culture in WWE is get rid of Vince. The moment Vince is gone is the moment when real wrestling, sports entertainment wrestling, becomes wrestling, and guys and girls can actually wrestle the way they used to wrestle on the indies. Because if you watch them on most of these wrestlers on the indies, you can see they have 5, 6, 7, sometimes 20 different moves in the move set. Compared to WWE, they only got like 5, maybe 10. And it's like something's a disconnect here, and it's not going to change whatsoever. Raw is still going to suck. SmackDown is a hit and miss sometimes, depending on if Roman Reigns it's on the show, which he's mostly is, so that's a good thing for them. And NXT is so because it's just NXT. There's nothing you can explain about that, but it is what it is. There's no way to fix it right now. Just go until Vince dies or he leaves or whatever. But yeah, I already covered why I don't like Bruce Pritchard in one of my other videos. So if you want to go back and watch that in my catalog, you can see why I pretty much went off on Bruce Pritchard's. But the next thing on the list is Rhea Ripley and Damian Priest supposed to be called up relatively recently. Rhea, I think she's gonna be coming up during the Royal Rumble, and I believe Damian Priest, he was supposed to come up recently to Kevin Steen, but you guys call him Kevin Owens, and attacking the Usos, Jay and Roman, but common sense prevail in creative, and Owens was like, me and him don't have a connection other than ROH, and Roman said the same thing, and they didn't bring him up. So it's only telling when Damian Priest is coming up, but I really love calling Punishment Martinez because that's a lot better name. But it is what it is. Those are two bright stars. I would rather have NXT. I know this is a cliche at this time, just be its own brand, and if they can be able to work with somebody outside the company or whatever it is, that's better. But taking them to the main roster, that's only going to get you hurt. For me, they should send the wrestlers who the fans know are not that it factor, not that good, have them be sent up instead so they can weed out the bad wrestlers and keep the good ones. I'm not saying all the wrestlers in NXT are bad. I'm just saying get rid of the ones that don't have a chance to win any of the titles and send them up to Raw, SmackDown. Whereas the ones who are perfect for the titles, keep them in NXT and keep it a lot entertaining and fresh. But something to people who never went through the NXT system is Candice Michelle and Carlito Colon Jr. Both was advertised for Legends Night, which is WWE's way of saying, hey, we fucked up, we have nothing to do. Let's just throw some people out there and see if we can get ratings. Candice was advertised to be there, never showed up. False advertisement. Carlito Colon was advertised to be there, but he said no after finding out that he was only going to be talking to Lucha Bros in the hallways for a split second, which I think is kind of stupid because if you're going to pay somebody to be there and they still in good wrestling shape, you have to wrestle. You can bring back Bill Goldberg, you can bring back all these legends to wrestle, but you can't bring back Carlito Colon. Something's up there. But I'm surprised nobody called him out on that or even put a lawsuit in or something for false advertisement, because that's what it is. But yeah, I already explained why WWE is the way it is. Recently, Bruce Pritchard, which I'm going to add this to from early on in the segment, Bruce Pritchard was on another podcast talking about how he has powers and talents that, and there's people in the WWE saying, hey man, they don't like the way Pritchard is handling himself on the podcast recently, and I'm thinking to myself, well, y'all should have known who y'all was doing when y'all brought him back. He's pretty much bad-mouthing talent. He's acting like a pompous asshole. He's trying to think he's the best thing ever on the product, and he's not really that good of a writer. They have, 26 writers collectively, maybe individually, and he's one of the worst, I guess, head writers on there, because his stuff is not geared to the new era or the modern era of wrestling fans. His type of humor is, like I said before and early on in this podcast, is to take care of Vince's humor. That's all it is. At this point, WWE is pretty much just there to please Vince's humor. So if these wrestlers really want to be considered wrestlers, they need to go to Impact, they need to go to New Japan, they need to go to Shimmer, they need to go anywhere that WWE does not have a grip on them. Because Selena Vega, she got fired because she supported unions and she didn't want to take down her Twitch. It's just craziness right there. And I do believe I did hear like a week or two ago that Paige is being forced to take down her Twitch, but she started hers, I think, relatively near the end of her career, and she's not wrestling. And she's not even used on TV, so how can you tell her to do something if she's not being used properly? See what I'm saying? But it's just what it is. Real women's not going to be used on WWE unless they're blonde and they fit the racial stereotype of blonde and blue eyes, Charlotte Flair. Tag team wrestling's not going to live in WWE because you know how WWE is. Oh, we got a tag team, let's keep them together. Oh, let's break them up later. It's so cliche, you can time it. Real champions, you're not going to see them in WWE because, again, Vince and Bruce. And if you want the best product for your money, don't watch WWE. Watch other companies. They do a lot better. I keep harping on Impact, despite their size right now. Nearly everybody on the roster has a storyline with somebody else on the roster. So it's not like, oh, I'm going to sign you, but I have nothing for you. Or I'm going to sign you, I got nothing for you. No, everybody's got something to do in the company, and it works out. New Japan is on their surge. They got things going on. Despite, how can I word this? Despite having not loaded arenas, sold out venues, whatever, they're still rocking, they're still going, because when this virus hit, they pretty much shut down everything and they forced people to wear masks, so there's hardly any outbreaks in Japan. And if you want to watch AEW, just watch AEW. But this is the BlastBoxx TV. I'm Officialdregs. You know the routine by now. If you don't, oh well. But I'm going to say it anyway. Stay out the blast radius. You might just get burned.